So welcome, everyone. Welcome to this month's episode of Pajamas, Coffee, and What's Next. What's next is us looking at where we want to be at the end of 2020. I'm excited to do this because most of us spent the year together once a month, and we've looked at everything from spirituality to transition to boundaries. And now we're going to put it all together and we're going to go forward, hopefully with some new skill sets. So I hope you all have your pads or something to write on unlined. You've got a pen. You're going to take a deep breath because I'm going to put you through quite a bit of writing. What I want for us is to know where it is we want to go, why we want to go there, how we'd like it to look when we get to the end of 2022. First, we need to look at maybe some of the things that have stopped us, but we're not going to look at that too much because we've done a lot of that work this year. So the first question I'm going to ask you, let me look over here at my slides. So let's think about 2021. What's changed for you when you were sitting in January 1 of 2021? What stayed the same since then for you in your life? And what feels stuck and what feels successful? So I want you to take a deep breath and we're going to give you some music so that you can write yourselves through that. What's changed for you since 2021? What stayed the same? What feels stuck and what feels successful?
Irene, do you want me to share a slide at that point?
Yeah, I want you to share a slide and I want you to put a little music on. And I'm more interested in the music than I am the slide, honey.
Okay.
Karen substituting for Uma graciously. It's slide number 2, hon.
Oh, slide number 2. Okay. All right. And we want music. Can you see it?
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah. Good job, hon. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to do this. This is really a class about you being with you having these conversations with yourself, because you're the one that's going to make 2021 be your best year ever. I love you all so much. Whatever comes up for you is exactly what you should be writing down.
And you can hear the music, right?
Yeah. Let yourself breathe. make sure you look at what feels successful for 2021 for you. I think it's easy for us to look at what's stuck, but it's really important that we look at what was successful for us. And no success is too small to mention. I'm going to give you about 2 more minutes. Okay, just wrap that up a little bit. Take a deep breath. Karen.
Yep.
Perfect, Karen. So, anybody want a minute to share anything from that exercise that you want to share that you wrote? Use a minute just to, I think you can, maybe in the sharing, we can help each other kind of remember stuff for ourselves, you know, because we identify so much with each other.
And you can unmute if you want to share.
I'll share. Oh,
Go
ahead.
Go ahead, Anne. You go ahead.
Which Anne?
Anne Bureau.
Oh, okay. So what's changed for me in 2021 is it's hard because I work in a school. So my year in my head is always 2 years professionally, but I did get a new job, which is part-time. So I added this boundary and I took this risk to do this, to have more time for myself, because I realized the last 7 years of my life have been insane, and that there was a big shift in myself internally when I turned 50. But I'm, and that because of that, I've been experiencing a lot of anxiety for the last 7 years.
Anxiety, and because you're living your life differently than you were before?
No, I just think in response to all the things that were happening in my life during the last 7 years, like getting a divorce, my husband having an affair, my daughter going away to college, being sort of isolated, my relationships in my family of origin changing in response to some of the things that happened in my life.
Oh,
but
sure.
So that's all happened in the last 7 years. And then there was some compression of that in the last couple of years. But what I've realized this year is that I'm starting to become more at peace with all of those things, and I'm okay with them. And that I'm becoming aware of exactly what was on my side of the fence and getting to know myself a little bit more. I took steps to reduce my professional stress and I'm taking more risks to take care of myself. And I know I never want to get married again or live with someone again. And yeah, did that help? Was that helpful?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's exactly, yeah, perfect. And just a little side note,
Yeah.
the fastest growing single demographic in North America today, well, I think in the United States, I don't know about Canada, are women over 50 choosing not to marry, choosing a single life.
Yeah.
And women, and there's more divorces than ever with women over 50 and long-term marriages and stuff. And women are the ones initiating most of them.
Yeah.
The
I want
majority.
to have relationships in my life.
Yeah,
But I don't want to get married or live with someone again.
It's a real change from where our mothers were.
Yeah.
Well, your mother's probably a lot younger than me, but
No.
but anyway, I just thought that was an interesting statistic. Anyone else want to share? Thank you, hon.
I'd like to.
Yes, Jennifer, go ahead.
Okay, there we go. So what's changed for me? Hopefully I cannot get through this without crying. I got sober.
You're allowed to cry, honey, and that was a huge.
I care about my life now. And
How long have you been sober, sweetheart?
it's 2 months today.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna go get my chip tonight.
Yes, that's a big, big accomplishment, sweetheart.
Yeah, so my party lifestyle is over. I've eliminated people from my life. I was in an abusive relationship for the past 2 years, and so that person is gone. I'm still here. I care about my life. The clouds have lifted. Now, how I still feel stuck is that I'm still tied to that person somewhat, but hopefully he's going to be coming this Christmas to gather more of his belongings, and so I'm nervous, but that's conversation that needs to be had. And so I'm stuck a little bit with that because it was very much a power dynamic, and but I'll get through it because I have a lot more confidence now. I'm stuck in that my transportation is limited, but I'm working on that as well. I'm scared of the unknown and failing and dealing with the now what. I deal with a little bit of sadness and loneliness at times. Things that are successful is I feel capable. I completed an inpatient treatment program. I've set boundaries. I've been able to let go of my ex-husband more and take control of my life again. And I've got fit and lost some weight.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you for sharing, honey.
Thanks.
Someone else? Lori.
That's really great, Jennifer. That's a big, big deal. I mean, that's a lot. I had a year like that a long time ago, but it's really wonderful. I had a funny, I'm surprised by what I wrote because what I wrote was a lot of positive stuff. I wrote that being at home and working has been really great. And I was surprised that it was really great because I didn't think I'd ever be able to work at home. I work for the state and very bureaucratic kind of job. And so they were kind of forced into doing this, but I just have felt a sort of acceptance a little bit, I dare say it. It's not a big voice in my head. It's a little whisper that's kind of come, that's been like, okay, I'm okay. And I don't know. When I was listening to Anne talk too, I had this feeling like a lot of that stuff that I had before, but now I'm feeling, even though if you catch me tomorrow, I wouldn't be saying all this. I just feel like I have a little glimmer of like not totally hating myself, which has been my whole path throughout my entire life. But now I'm 63 and I don't know, I feel a little bit like it's been okay. I'm okay.
It's okay to be Lori?
Yeah. I think it's because I've become very, very isolated because I have health issues. So I never go out. I never leave the house except to go see my doctor. And so I've like let go of a lot of the world. And I thought, I don't feel isolated. I don't feel bad. I just feel kind of, I've accepted it.
Well, you also have done a ton of work, Miss Laurie Lou.
I have.
I mean, you've been isolated. I mean, I think you've been solitude. It's not so much isolated because you have your
Right.
family and everything and you have your job, but there's been some real solitude and you've turned inward and you've started to like pay attention to you and have some compassion for yourself.
I have. And I'm very excited about writing about my life. And I
Yes.
just have to say one more thing. My husband said something the other day. I thought, I don't know, it struck me very funny. We were talking about me never being able to go out of the house because of my health. And he said, well, you seem contented. And, I just got this image of like a cat in a box, like it seems contented to be in the box, just the phrasing of it just struck me funny. Anyway, thank you. That's all I got. Thanks.
That's the article that I read about women choosing to be single, like not about not having relationships, just not getting married and keeping their leaving the life of being a married person for a long period of time, or being in relationships, living relationships. The thing that they most admired were cats in the window. They wanted that kind of peace. So it's funny that you just said that, but they wanted to be cats in a window. Anyone else want to share?
I'll share.
Sure, Beth.
Well, the word same, I did not like this as I was briefly writing, and I wrote same, oh, same, oh, same, oh. Well, several things are the same, same apartment, same neighbors, same concerns, same status, still single, same scene, same blah, blah, blah. But then I realized, wow, there's a lot of good in same. It's kind of like an acronym. Same always makes expansion, because things can never really stay the same. And I like change, but I've been forced into same for some reason. But I realize, and I'm realizing that same is going to boost me. I'm bored of same. So that's in energy towards something different. And I want something different. I'm happy, I'm content with a lot of things, but I'm willing to take this same and make something positive, and take the things and maybe move it up a notch into a little bit more excitement.
Good. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else want to share? Becca.
I'll share.
Oh, let
where do we
Rebecca
go?
go, and then you go, Karen.
Okay.
Okay, well, what changed for me? I started the year off at 2021, not realizing that I wanted to get an RV and travel. And now I have an RV and I'm going to travel. So that just happened. Everyone says, did you always want one? And I go, not really. But then after I traveled last year during 2020 and the whole hotel situation and all that stuff, and I was like, I want my own bathroom and I want my own shower. And so I did it. Irene has got to spend a day with me. Irene and David came out and seen me on one day. So that has really changed.
So nice. It's called the Little Coop.
Yeah, the coop.
The Coop.
And because my car is the Red Hen, so it's a little Airstream, so it's nice. And so what feels stuck, and I had to really think on this, because this has been a full 12 month, a full calendar year now that I haven't worked. And I'm 62, I'll be 63 in April, and I'm like, what feels stuck? And I'm like, you still have those little money fears. And then I was just thinking of this the other day. I'm making, I don't know, without doing math, I'm probably making at least 50% less than what I did when I worked, or 60 or 70 even.
You mean in your retirement?
Yes. I'm living on this, but I don't have the bills I had. I'm not traveling all the time. And I have more than enough. And I'm thinking, why did I always think I was so broke when I was working? It's the old adage that you spend as much as you make.
Mhm.
So, I still have those. It's still, niggles in the back of my mind, like, be careful, this, and that. And I do have a different mindset. I don't really need that. I'm not buying it. And I still get stuck in some of the same irritations. Now, my sister and I went down to Danvers, Mass, which is about an hour drive from my house on Friday. And I told her, I said, is it because I don't drive almost every day anymore to work back and forth in this crazy traffic? These guys are irritating the crap out of me. They drive terrible. And I'm like, they're so fast. And I go, so a lot of that has really changed, but success, and this is a big one, is in spiritual practices. Lori, when you were talking about that you were sick and, you stay at home, you only go to the doctor's office. One of the big things with the Course in Miracles, I'm a Course in Miracles student. Sickness is isolation, and that always sticks in my head, because when you don't feel good, you don't go anywhere. And the more you don't go anywhere, the more sicker you feel. So, I always think sickness is isolation, because you don't want anyone, to feel bad for you. But my spiritual practices are getting deeper and more diverse, which I need. And my thinking on a lot of things has changed. The few relationships I have are good and solid and gotten better, and making my health a more important issue. I was telling Irene, I take aquafit classes now, and I'm probably one of the younger ones in the class. And it's so much fun going in there with all these 80-year-old ladies, and we're doing aquafit and stuff. It's just, I go, I'm retired, I can do whatever I want. So anyway, that's what I have to say. I'll let Karen.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And I think there's that was good to hear, Hun. And I think there's a difference that's important between isolation and solitude. And in isolation, you feel lost and you feel different than, and you feel not the same as. And in solitude, it's when you're coming home to yourself in a very quiet way that
Irene, I think
yeah.
of it also as the difference between being alone and being lonely.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So Karen, you wanted to say something. Go ahead, honey.
Yeah, just like somebody else said, my successful list was a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. And, where I'm stuck always is the need to make more money, which, that's my thing. And I would like a relationship with somebody, not to get married, not to move in, but a relationship. So there's that. But what was successful, I'm sleeping better, which Irene knows this is like major nutritional stuff. I hit 69 this year and I feel great. Like I just feel absolutely great, and when I hit 65, I was so mad. I was when I hit 60, I was mad. It was like, I'm not supposed to be 60. When I hit 65, I was even more mad. Now I'm 69. It's like, who cares? It's good. All right, I'm fine. So there's that. I taught 2 workshops the past couple months, 3 workshops actually, for the Karen Foundation, which I'm very excited about. And I hope to do more stuff with them. But I did it online with Zoom. Uma, who you've met, helped me set it up, and I was able to negotiate it, which made me feel all kinds of advanced.
Tell them how many was in your big class.
In the big class, there were 81 people. Yeah.
So the first time you're doing a class and there's 81 people and you're using the technology, I mean, this sister needs a real big round of applause. I mean, that was like major.
What were the classes on? I'm just curious.
The first one, well, one of them was called Awakening Your Story, and awakening to your story. And it was really about looking at what's been in your past and what you want to say no to in that, and how you want to move forward. What does that look like? And they were really engaged. It was kind of amazing. And I told them, I said, some of you will get to speak, some of you won't, because there's 81 here, but I said, put it in the chat. And then I had people put things in the chat and I was reading through it, and then people were talking. It was pretty vibrant. I did it over 2 Monday nights. So it was, yeah. Yeah.
And
that was
Karen's
great.
Karen doesn't know this yet, but I know she'll agree. She's gonna be one of my guest teachers in the memoir writing class, because she really does a good job with she was an actress, she's a public speaking coach. She really, really understands about owning your story.
Thank you, Irene. Yeah, and then the other one I taught was for the women's leadership team at Karen. It's a 6-week class called Women Speak, which I teach, and it's about public speaking. Like, how do you find your message, and then how do you deliver it? And I've done a lot of work around that. So that was great. So thank you for asking. And yeah, my spiritual practice has gotten better. I tend to be a real isolator, and I'm finding with all the spirituality and everything going on, I'm wanting to meet more people, which is weird at this time. But I got a job at this very cute boutique down the road called Fabulous Find in Kittery. And I'm meeting more people. And then I started singing with this really great jazz musician in the area. It started at the farmer's market in Kittery. And we recognized each other from years ago. And he said, "You're still singing?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Let's do some tunes." And we've wound up doing that. And I'm going to be meeting him today to practice more steps. So
So you can find Karen behind the turnip at the farmer's market appearance.
singing behind the turnip. Exactly.
Fabulous singer. That's
So
so
that was
funny.
it. But it's been, yeah, it was lovely to really look at that. It was lovely to really look at that and see all of the things unfolding in a good way, you know?
And what I love about the way you all are sharing is you're feeling that success. And it's not somebody else's idea of your success, it's your idea of your success. And when we get our idea of our success, then we know what it is that fits us and where we want to go. Kat, did you want to say something? I see your little yellow hand up there in the corner.
Oh, I don't, I didn't realize I did that, but okay. So Karen's a hard act to follow. So one of the things that stayed the same is I still compare myself to others and never on the winning side. Yay me. But at least I'm spotting it. How can I miss it? It's like a billboard everywhere I look. But what has changed? What's changed is I got out of the house with the 2 mean girls living above me. I also got out of the place in Groveland with the 2 mean landlords. So gosh, look at me. I'm getting away from people who aren't very nice. And I landed in a place that I love. I love this apartment so much. It's right across from my favorite beach. I take Reggie out the door and decide whether we're going to walk around the property, which is beautiful, or whether we're going to jump in the car and go for a half-hour walk 2 minutes away. And it's my church, you know, it's so uplifting to me, and there's so much light in here, and it just feels really good. And the people are nice and super dog friendly. I'm surrounded by dogs. So that's all an upgrade. That's a big upgrade. It's been a year of a lot of letting go, and letting go of physical stuff, which yay, I got rid of a whole storage unit packed to the gills. And I sold most of it, which is great because I'm really good at it. And it's kind of fun for me. I have like my inner Sanford and Sons, you know, where I like to like go and buy a rug for 25 and sell it for 100. But it's all my stuff. It was my stuff. It wasn't anybody else's stuff that I bought. And I was starting to, you know, when I heard the questions, I was in the kitchen making tea, and I was like, well, not much successful, but these are successes. And then, you know, one of the things I always forget to put on the list, and it kind of makes me want to cry, is, okay, I successfully stayed sober for my 34th year. I successfully helped a lot of other people get and stay sober. And I minimize that because you're not supposed to take credit for that, right? I mean, we just do it, but I've showed up and I'm making an impact, and I need to own it. Go ahead.
There's a difference between taking credit and having an appreciation for what you participated in. That's a great appreciation. Of course, you are glad that you were used and you showed up. You know, that co-creating with the divine or the universe or whatever, the one thing that we have to do to participate is bring our willingness. We bring our willingness, and life or the universe, the angels, the whatever you want to call it, they show up and we work together. And you have an appreciation for that. And what I really wanted us to start off with before we started looking at what we wanted to bring towards us is focusing on the success. The biggest, like you, the single biggest success of my life is 37 years of sobriety. And I know that I only got that one day at a time. And I know that sounds cliche and corny, but that's how success happens. I kept putting one foot in front of the other on the days I didn't want to, just like you, just like Jennifer, you know, and I was going to add to that. And that's how I wrote 2 books. I could look at those books and I could say, well, Oprah never asked me to go on her TV show and they didn't make the New York Times bestseller list, but I wrote them. I finished them. I did something I never, ever thought I could do. And I got so much out of it. And then I've been asked to coach other people in writing their books. I didn't know and that was ever going to happen in my life, but because I kept putting one pen, you know, one sentence in front of another, you know, and going through all, just like the sobriety, that's a success. And was reading something that Julia Cameron wrote about creating after 50, being creative after 50, is how we have to have humility. And the humility is, instead of comparing ourselves to the masters or the big, huge stars or the ones that made the New York Times bestseller list, we compare ourselves to where we were before we started this. Look, I wrote a paragraph. Look, I even said to people out loud, I'm a writer. That took me like 2 years to not want to vomit every time I said that. And now I so identify that, you know, 15 years later, I'm so identified with that's who I am because that's what my soul loves to do.
So, and interestingly, last week I was asked to pitch in and speak at a meeting, short notice, and nobody there knows that I write. And 5 people said, let us know when your book comes out.
Yeah, yeah. It gets very difficult for us to look at success. Okay. And remember when we were little, when somebody put our stuff up on the refrigerator and gave us a round of applause, how good that felt? You know, I really think we need to start putting our stuff up on the refrigerator. I really, really do. Giving ourselves a round of applause. Does anybody else want to share before we move on? Katie, did I see your hand up? Oh, Jacqueline, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Okay. Well, I've been surprised that people around me are growing and are healthy. I mean, including myself, especially with just everything that's been going on. It just astounds me. And that I'm getting stronger inside. I've had time to integrate myself and heal myself. I'm getting better at boundaries and knowing what I do and don't want. I wrote that I'm giving it my all. And being a positive influence, growing, even if it's slow, it's okay. I'm making some art and teaching some art lessons and have maintained my health and even lessened my medications, my antidepressant medications, and I'm not depressed. And I think that's it. I didn't write either, but I've also been 34 years sober. And I am really grateful for the Zoom and the meetings and the people. That's been definitely a lifeline. So I was just feeling uplifted writing this.
Good. Good.
Sometimes I pay attention to the news, and that's not always, you know, it can be a little despairing sometimes, but overall, there's still a lot of growth around. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
it's been delightful hearing everybody.
Thanks, Jackie. Katie, did you want to share? Did I see your hand?
Oh, but I can share a little bit.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
So what has changed? Okay. One of the things that has changed has been my family dynamics, but I also have a new nephew this year who was born this year, and that's been really, really fun. I haven't been able to see him as much, but the other day I was video call babysitting, at least that's what I've been calling it, while my sister was trying to handle some things. And I avoided him crying, and I was like, I would have never thought that I would be babysitting over a video call ever in my life. So I'm starting a new position at my job. So that's something that's new and it's changing, and it's more in the spirit of creating more change in life. So Irene was able to get that internal position that we talked about. And I started belly dancing. I used to salsa dance frequently, and I realized that I missed it, but I didn't know what else to do. And so I started doing some belly dancing classes. And so that's been kind of nice to, like, you know, sink in with yourself in certain ways. So that's
You want to show us some?
No.
That would be so fun to watch.
I actually have to practice because we have like a 2-minute recital routine, and I'm like, okay, I have to practice this.
Oh, that would be so fun to watch.
So that's a little bit of the change. What's staying the same is I'm still living in the same place. I keep saying that I'll declutter, and I don't know how to handle that yet because I feel like I already decluttered, but there's actually a lot of more things that I think I can declutter from my place. So there's that. So the other piece is feeling successful as coaching. I mean, not coaching, supporting people. And I had friends who have had some major life changes, and
that's coaching, hon.
Yeah. Well, notice how it slipped out first, right? For me, I think like just staying on top of my own health issues on a monthly basis and supporting myself, whether it's massage, chiropractic appointments, and things like that, have been what I feel very successful with for myself.
Letting yourself spend the money on yourself that way.
Exactly.
That's a big deal.
That's a thing, right? And so that's been a big thing. And so that I feel like that's successful because I'm not feeling guilty about the way that I'm spending my money.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's all beneficial. So one of the things one of the things that I like to work more on is just like, being healthier. And I mean, through eating habits and physical exercise. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. And you want to share? Great. Because I was going to pick you anyway. Can you put the sound on?
I figured you were going to ask, so
I love you.
I know, I love you too. This hasn't been a great year, and boy, I'm going to cry.
It's okay. It's okay, sweetheart.
I also lost my niece-in-law this fall, the widow of my nephew who passed away 3 years ago. She died at 58. And we just had to put our cat Eddie down.
Oh my God. So put out the list of people that you lost in 2021.
And my sister and her husband died in the fall of 20. And it was unexpected. No one knew she was sick. And they had moved to Colombia, Medellin, Colombia, South America, and they loved it. They hadn't even been there a year. And she died from asymptomatic pancreatic cancer. And then her husband died 6 weeks later, as far as we're concerned, from a broken heart. And that's not the way I ever expected to go to South America. Let's put it that way. And I've been, interestingly, what I put down on a successful that was really hard to pull out of me, was that I've learned a lot. I mean, it's not fun, but it's learned a lot because I'm my sister's trustee and executor and all that stuff. And her living in Colombia, I've learned a lot of things I never even heard of about dealing between countries with death and all that. I mean, I have a feeling I'm going to need it, and I don't know how. Hopefully I don't have to need it, but I find that when something new happens, somewhere along the line, there's a reason I learned it before.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and so I have a feeling that's going to happen. But, and of course, and then my husband lost his son in March this year. Not COVID, none of this is COVID, by the way. And that was unexpected. And he left two girls. They just turned 11 and 13 this summer. And he's been going every other week from Connecticut to Maryland to work on that estate. I mean, you know, this is, this is not what I wanted for my retirement, that's for sure. But there's things that I do and I have been doing that help a lot. And I didn't think of it until most of you had finished sharing, which is how, first of all, I stayed sane. I mean, there were times I didn't think that was going to happen. But I'm a big gardener, and I garden at the community garden in Greenwich. I live in Greenwich, Connecticut. We have community gardens, and my church, and I had a little team that we grow, it's all organic, food for our local food pantry and I grew over 165 pounds this summer and donated. And, you know, that was one of the best years we've had. Just one of those years, the summer, the weather was incredibly good for some reason. Last year was not. So those are the things that really helped me through. And I know it's because I've, my faith, and putting myself where I feel the most comfortable and useful. And that's on the ground, in the dirt, with nature, and the people also around me that feel the same way. And that made a big difference for me. It really helped.
And I have to say, that takes an enormous amount of faith and courage to turn all that pain, I could cry just saying it, into growing a garden to feed the hungry when you were in so much pain yourself. I know the loss of all those people just ripped your heart and smashed it. And now you lost Eddie too, your kitty. Oh, God.
But
wow.
Again, the ironic part of that was we have Dazzle, who was my sister's cat, and I brought her back from Colombia because there were two dogs, but someone down there was willing to keep the dogs and take care of them. We couldn't do that. But Dazzle now, I have another cat, Nelson. So we had three cats when I brought Dazzle home. Well, now Dazzle is there for Nelson because Nelson was with Eddie for so many years that I can see his mourning. I can see him grieving. But Nelson is there she can be a real pain in the ass, but it helps him because he's playing. She helps him play. And I'm so grateful. I mean, it wasn't easy, but there's always a reason for something. I really believe that. Something else will come up that makes it seem better than you thought it was.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Can I just interrupt and tell you that I got a psychic hit for the title of your book?
Oh.
The Grief Garden.
Oh, wow.
The Grief Garden.
Wow.
Wow.
That's wonderful, Kat.
Wow. All right, you're all going to make me cry. So what I want you to do now, because I haven't worked you hard enough, okay? I love you guys so much. So what I want you to do now is, and Karen's going to play a little music, and we're going to give her a round of applause because she figured out how to make the damn thing work through Zoom. Because if she wasn't here, I'd be humming along for you. So I want you to list 5 goals for yourself for 2022. 5 goals for yourself, all right? But there's a little trick to it. I don't want it to look like a to-do list. I want you to list 5 goals for yourself, but not have it be a to-do list. I want you to list never mind, just follow those directions. Okay, this will be a short little write. The first 5 things that come to mind, goals for yourself for 2022. Okay, Kara. Let the first things that come to mind come out on the paper. Okay, put your heads up when you're finished. Well, I don't know what I've done. Can you guys hear me? Because I can't see you guys. Karen, can you
Yes.
hear me? You can hear
Yeah.
me? I've just lost my picture, but, oh, there, I got you back. Oh, so, can you just, you can put these in, well, just put them out really quickly, anything you want to share, okay? But just like popcorn, just put them out quickly, because we're gonna do something else with these, all right? Anybody want to put them out?
Oh,
Yeah, I want to become financially independent, stay sober, write more, and discover new passions.
Okay. Someone else?
And
Anne,
I want to travel to see the people I love around the world and the planet I love. I want to feel the love and not feel like there's nothing around me anymore. I want to breathe by cleaning out my house. And it's not a cluttered house. It's just too much for me. It's just.
Can't hear you.
Taking care of myself, learning to say no.
Perfect, perfect. Anyone else have something they want to share? Rebecca?
Yeah, I'll just make it like really quick here. Get out on the road and keep learning. Become an expert backer-upper.
With a trailer.
In a trailer. I can back up like crazy. I can parallel park. I can teach classes on that. I've got to learn this skill because I don't want everyone watching me when I pull into a park.
Oh,
And the other one is become more aware of my mind, my thoughts, and my brother. Just get way more into awareness. The one that really surprised me, it just came right out, read a book a month.
oh, cool.
Instead of farting around on the phone and doing other, I have tons of time. I just have I just do a lot of other stuff with it.
Good, good.
Read a book a month.
Okay. So anyone else have anything they want to share? Yes, Babs.
Abs, let's see, finish my book. I heard you say that I finished the book and I wrote that down. That's my plan to attend my son's beautiful wedding in San Miguel, Mexico in June with maybe a beautiful man in my arm. Not maybe, because I will meet my wonderful partner this year. I plan to become independently wealthy. And as I become 65 in February, I want to just show the world I'm happy. This is cool. And a lot of you all are inspiring me that it's cool to be in the 60s. And yes, and just to be just totally free and loving life.
One of us just turned 76 last week. So
Wow.
it's cool to be 76 too.
Yes. November 30th, was that it?
November 29th.
29th, okay.
Yeah. Someone else want to share? No, we're good?
No,
Oh, okay,
I'll go.
Ann. Okay, Ann. Ann B.
So I always have a hard time with goals, really, really hard time writing goals because I often find that I don't meet them, or I forget them, or I put them on the back burner, or they change. So I had a hard time writing this list, but the first one was just survive. Which sounds so pathetic, but honestly, it's the first thing that came to my mind. And then learn how to deal with my anxiety, be more gentle and kind to myself, have more financial organization, and experience more joy.
Good.
I kept them very vague so that I don't have to be disappointed when they don't happen.
Okay, all right. Kat?
Yeah, so always the rebel. I came up with 7, but I won't read them all. One
You can read
is the
them all.
first one that came up was be visible, which has been like a huge to me. So come out and be seen, social videos, leading workshops, and then somebody said writing a book. I was like, why isn't that on my list? So I put writing a book. Tying off that, or stepping off that, is be fully myself, stop holding back on who I am, develop new friends that are interesting, fun, kind, achieving, and good for me, 6-figure income, doing what I love, be kind to myself in every way, be surrounded by loved ones and feel the love.
Great. Is there anyone else that wants to share? No, you guys are good. All right, so now with your list, and I'm going to use Ann Bureau as an example, okay? I want you to find a couple of things on your list that, or you can do the whole list, I don't care, but the ones particularly that are vague, all right? So she said, I want to survive. So now what I want you to do, Ann, is I want you to look at survive and I want you to break it down. What would survive look like? If you get to the end of 2022, and you have survived, what would it look like? I mean, yours is pretty easy for me to use as an example. Does that mean you would be standing and breathing? Or what else would it mean? I want you to go deeper with that, all right? So all of you take one of yours or 2 of yours if you have time, all right? And I want you to go deeper with it. What would that look like at the end of 2022? How would I feel? What would I have experienced? So I'm going to give you just a few minutes to explore one of them. And, obviously I'm just giving you an experience so that you can practice this on your own. So let yourselves breathe. And Karen, you can give us a little bit of music, all right? The music just takes you into your bodies and out of your heads. Let yourself be as spontaneous with the writing as you can. I could give you an example for me, and the example for me, I'll try to do this quick and not keep talking, but so say I want to finally lose this 20 pounds that I carry around. So why do I want to lose it? Probably I want to stop feeling as tired as I feel sometimes. I want to have more energy. I want to experience the word vitality. I want to look at why I'm hiding with food. I hope that helps you with a little bit of an example. All right, guys, I'm going to give you a few minutes to play with your list, all right? Karen, put up slide number 5, hon. So here's a writing prompt for this exercise I've just given you. I'm sorry, I didn't say it sooner, I forgot it. Why have you chosen those goals, this goal? What do you want to experience? So I'll give you one more minute with this. And this is the way I want you to always kind of look at your goals or your resolutions. Is that what they're called? Resolutions. Is that word right? For the new year. What does my soul want to experience? So when you're ready, if you put your heads up, I'll know that you're done, at least for now, for this moment. Okay, Karen? Thanks, Kara. Does anybody want to share what they came up with? Yes, Babs. Put your audio on, honey.
This workshop is perfectly divinely timed because 2 days ago in my hometown in Kentucky, a huge tornado struck through and just obliterated houses, many of whom I've been in. I know them. It's
Oh,
very
honey.
sad.
Oh,
It is
wow.
so sad. And I've been feeling the grief, and I know many, many of them throughout Kentucky. But what it did is it just kind of pushed me, this grief, it pushed me to think, do I want to die without my book ever having been written? And then you said something like the words, I finished the book. So in this practice, I just wrote, I finished my book. After years of being on a seesaw, I finally heard God tell me which of the 4 books he wants me to write that will help others. So I finished it and I feel so happy, free, joyous. Already I'm giving book signings, discussions, and people all over the world are being helped by my story. Feels so very good. I'm proud of myself, and my brother Eddie on the other side has been my cheerleader, and I was able to grant his wish before he died to write about our childhood and help others. I'm helping others, and my life purpose is lifting me up and others as well. It feels so divine.
Cool. You really jumped right into that, huh? You really started to stand in where you want to end up, huh?
Yeah, nothing like
Excellent.
a tornado to kind of push it through.
Sure, sure. It just shows you how temporary all this is.
Mhm.
Absolutely. That's great. Anyone else want to share? Kat, you got your hand up? Little gold hand?
No, that's a leftover hand.
Okay, Kat. Anybody else want to share?
I'd like to share. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Ann B, go ahead. Put your sound on, sweetheart.
Sorry. I answered the question, why those goals and what do you want to experience? And it just very simple: health, security, and peace of mind that reduces my anxiety. That's what I want.
Okay, you're hungry for that. So at the end of the year, you would be standing in a place of what?
I think I would just be feeling like the rug isn't going to be pulled out from under me at any moment, which isn't based on anything in reality, that feeling, but it's always there. And that that by these goals that I wrote were really, I mean, I didn't obviously have time to think about them, and they were sort of spontaneous. So, sometimes when you do that, it's am I writing these things just because I need to write something down, or are they really meaningful? But, like, I want to explore these and see if they really are meaningful, because they do seem to make sense. They all sort of,
I think my belief is that whatever we write spontaneously is definitely, it's coming from a truth inside of us that we maybe not have looked at, and we didn't have words for it. So I really, really trust whatever comes out spontaneously. And then we start wanting to overthink it rather than explore it, rather than just see it as something we want to pull the thread on that and just kind of unravel it. All right. What
Yeah.
I'm hearing you say is, the words that come up for me with you is that you want to get to the end of the year where you're trusting life, that you're just trusting and that you're feeling safe.
yeah, because what I've realized is that I've had so many times when I've thought that life really is purposeless, and often have said, like, I think that I've often thought about just not being here. That might be a little bit better, but that's changed in the last few months, and these all seem to sort of address that.
Yes, yes, yes. And let me tell you something. There's something in you that thinks there is a purpose, or you would have left the planet. You're here. Okay. So something in you knows that it's not up here. It's not the ego. There's something in your soul that knows whatever you want to call soul, your tada, your core, your whatever, it knows that you're not finished yet. And they say in AA is don't leave before the miracles happen. All right. Anyone else want to share? Oh, Karen, you wanted to share, honey.
Yeah, I had said, I want to sing and perform publicly, but when I really wrote, I want to sing for large groups of people in loving environments and bring joy. And why? It opens my heart and it inspires other people. Having performed for so many years, I know that there's a give and take of love with an audience like no other. I mean, it's just kind of amazing to experience it. And also to bring people together to wash away our differences. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of that in my own house, but and some of the songs that come up, Let It Be, Come Together, which all of those songs that have been touching me. And the other thing I wrote more specifically about was experience my wonderful partner. I want to meet him and fall in love in a healthy way. And he's my best friend and my lover. I want to experience my sensuality in a way that I've not been allowed. And we really get to enjoy each other and grow together, and we expand each other's souls.
Take a deep breath. Sounds great. All right. Anyone else want to share? Anne, you, sure. Turn your sound on, hon.
I just picked out feel the love as a goal, which sounds, well, anyway, someone else said it, so it obviously.
And it sounds perfect.
I'm not alone. What I wrote, accept love from others and let it into my soul. And when you first started, you mentioned the soul, and I thought, wow, I don't usually get into that level. And then reflect it back. I have to trust the love shown to me. I have to believe I'm lovable. And then also stop what I know is controlling in order to keep myself safe. And I know that's why I get into a control head too often.
The amount of control we want and the amount of fear we have is completely correlated. It's fear that stops us. Sure.
And I just
Say that again, Irene.
To just be.
The amount of control we want is equal to the amount of fear we have. Control is all about fear. Okay. And I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, I just really said I just need to truly know how to relax and just be who I am and not who I still think other people think I am or expect me to be. And it's exhausting. Just exhausting.
Absolutely. And I think that probably every one of us can relate to that at some level, because our goals have so much come from outward. Like, what are the expectations of the world, of society? And that's where, that's how I'll know I'm successful. If I drive this car, if I have this Botox, if I'm making this much money, that's how I'll know I'm successful. And yet the stuff that you guys were talking about success was all the internal stuff. Like you going and, I mean, I love that title that Kat got for your book, that you go to a garden, and that had nothing to do with how it looked on the outside. It was you with the earth. It was you being you at your absolute core and most truthful place. And then the planet is served. The planet was served because you were totally 100% authentic in that earth and in that garden. Love it. Someone else want to share? Okay, you guys are good? All right, so I have another slide that I want you to look at. Karen, it's slide number 6. So many times during the course of this year, for those of you who have listened to my mouth for the course of this year at our programs, I've talked to you about the 5 things the soul needs. This comes from, the woman's name just went out of my head. I'll write it in the sources. I've written it before. I didn't come up with this. She did. Oh, I'm sorry. Her name is Janet. Oh, I should be giving her credit. Anyway, The soul needs to connect to the source. The soul needs to know your values, for you to have a commitment to values. The soul needs you to use your creativity, to use your voice, and to know what purpose. You know, when you are doing something, when you are setting a goal, when you are walking around in your life, when you are making some decisions, what for? Why are you doing this? What purpose is it serving? And it's asking you, what purpose is it serving for you? So Anne goes into the garden and she has the purpose of getting out of the pain she's in, just for a few moments, getting some relief from all the devastating loss she's had this year. So it was a very selfish purpose, but she listened to her soul, and in there she's being creative. And one of her values is she's a very generous and philanthropic person. One of her values is to give to others. And she feels divine presence when she's with the earth. So her need is to get out of pain, and she goes and she listens to her soul, and she lets the soul dictate to her what it is she's going to do in her day, with her day. You know, not how is it going to look to the planet, not how is it going to impress others. She's just looking for some relief, and how creatively she found that. Does this make sense, guys? So I want you to look at the list, and I want you to pick one of your goals or one of the places where you feel stuck, and ask yourself, where am I missing the mark? How am I not showing up for myself? Or maybe how am I showing up for myself with this? An example for me that's been really difficult in this past year is getting it. We decided in April that we really had to change where we live. Babs, I know some of you have not been into my house, but it's big. It's a great big old New Englander. It has 2 apartments, and it's where I've had workshops and stuff. And it's become very difficult for my husband to keep up with it. You know, he's 77, and he has some mild cognitive impairment, and it's just become overwhelming. And I've not wanted to look at that, you know. I've not wanted, and I know what's come up. I mean, that's why we were going to make it into condos, and that didn't work out. And then we ended up selling it. It sold very quickly. And now we're moving. And that's going to change everything about the way I do my practice as a therapist and a coach. But one of the things that's come up is the place that I've been bitchy, and I've been sad, and I've been, nervous and anxious and not sleeping well. And I realized when I was looking at this list, because I teach what I need to learn, trust me, that's what I've been doing my whole life here, is I have not been connecting to source. I've not been trusting the process. I've not been, because I can't see what the unknown's going to look like. And so I've been pretty creative now that I've started to connect to source and trust that, David and I have been together 50 years. He may have gotten to this point where he wants out of this sooner than I do, but I just know that it's going to be good for me too. I have like a gut feeling that this is going to be really good for me. I'm going to have more time and more freedom because I'm not going to have this huge place to take care of. So I've been looking at the list, and the list has really helped me get back into the day to do the things necessary. So I've started a really stronger ritual daily with David about connecting to source. We've made our prayer time very specific. And I know my values about service and working with other people. It's going to have, also a commitment to my value of staying committed to my marriage. I don't know what the purpose is, why we have to go now, but it feels like I have to trust. So we will go now. Is this making sense what I'm trying to say? It's probably sounding a bit airy-fairy, but what I want you to see is, as you're moving forward in this year, I want you to ask yourself, am I meeting the requirements or the needs of my soul? This doesn't have to do with anybody else but you, and nobody but you can answer this, because this is where you come in to measure. This is where you measure if it's working for you or not. Are my choices working for me? We're so used to going outside of ourselves to measure what success looks like. The little condo that we just bought, because it's the one we can afford and we're being really blessed, it came available and we got it very quickly, is in a town I never thought we were going to live in. You know, it's a good 30 minutes away from where I live right now. It's just not where I thought we were going to go and what we were going to do. So there's a whole lot of trust, but it feels right when we're there. I mean, we've only been there a couple of times to explore it, but it feels right. It feels like, okay, this is what we're supposed to be doing. And I don't know what it's going to look like. I just got, I just have to start thinking, like, I have some clients who really want to come into this building to see me, and I'm not going to be able to offer that anymore. So how am I going to rent an office space down here on the seacoast, or am I just going to completely do Zoom? What am I going to do? I don't know. So I have to get inside the day, which is which AA taught me. For the most successful thing I did in my life was stay sober for 37 years. I took it one day at a time. I'm going to have to take it one conversation with people at a time. Maybe I'll go to their house, maybe I'll drive to somebody else's house and see them at their home, like an old time doctor, or maybe some of my older clients will learn how to use the technology. I don't know. But it'll be happening one day at a time, one experience at a time, one appointment at a time. That's how it'll happen. So I want you to look at yours. And what I want you to do is I want you to come up with what's one thing you can do. This is the last slide, honey. It's number 8.
Irene,
Yeah.
Before you go on, what is that? Know your what for? What does that mean?
Know your purpose. What's the purpose of what you're doing this for? Whatever it is you're doing, what's the purpose of it? So, so a lot of people say, I want to write my book because I want to help others. Okay. Really understandable. And in coaching people around writing their books, it doesn't mean everybody has to write a book in this workshop, but we just seem to all be talking about it. That idea of I want to help others, I want to share my story. I've learned some things in my life. I want other people to know that if I could help them and get through a painful place, I want to give that. And then the magic that happens when you start writing the book, or you start standing, like one of the things Rebecca wants to do is travel. She wants to get in this new RV and she wants to travel. So one of the things to do that is she has to learn how to back up the van, the camper, so she doesn't feel like an ass when she's parking wherever she's parking, right? And then, so she's going to walk through that. Well, that's going to be the one day at a time kind of thing. And then as she travels, she's going to start finding out what the purpose of this was for her. Like, why is she doing this? What's coming up for her? What value in her life is this satisfying? It'll unfold in front of us. We don't know it all ahead of time, but I'm just suggesting that that's the way we can look at the way in which we decide what we want for our agenda, for our goals. Anyway, the whole thing about back to writing, and people say, I want to help others. I will promise you this, when you write your book, you are the one that will be served. You will be so served, because you will meet yourself and your story and your life in a whole new way that you didn't even know. There's 2 definite parts to writing. One is, whether it's the journal or whatever, one is the writing process itself will just wake you up to so much about yourself. And then later, whatever you do with that will give you a whole nother adventure, one you didn't even know about. It's so rich. Did that kind of answer it for you?
Yeah, it's so funny because I also said something about wanting to write a book, and helping others never even was on my radar screen. I feel like all these other people have such altruistic goals, but helping others never even occurred to me. So I don't know what that means.
It's just the way the universe, but it's just the way the universe is, or the soul is just getting their attention that they need.
I mean, helping myself is my goal, not helping
Yes,
others.
yes, yes.
Whatever. Yeah.
But what will probably, I'm just going to take a guess, hon, knowing a lot of your story, what's probably going to happen is you're going to help yourself while you write it, and others will be helped after it's done. These other people think I'm going to help others, and what they will find out is then they will be helped in the process. You're going to the same place, you're just coming down different paths to get there. Does anybody wanting to share about what I said?
Irene, I have a question.
Sure.
You posed the question, am I meeting the requirements of my soul? And then you said a second question, and I didn't quite get that second question.
Am I meeting the requirements of my soul? You mean, am I looking at these 5 things?
Yeah, when you were talking about the 5 things, you posted another question. I was like, oh, I like it, but I can't recall I didn't catch the whole thing.
Well, you will be getting the video.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, maybe I can catch her in the moment, but that's totally okay.
I'm not sure what I said, honey. So all I wanted you guys, I want you to use this as a measuring stick for yourself.
Okay.
And this is, this is a way you kind of like put the mirror inside. And whatever connecting source means to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I continue to use Anne as an example. She finds God in the earth. I mean, that's a church for her. I mean, I know she goes to church, but that's a real spiritual, sacred place for you, Anne, right? And that's a real connection to source. And how blessed are you that you really know where it is? I have a guy who's a vet, a client, and he goes to the woods all the time, and his wife says, he won't go to church with me. He won't go to church with me. And I told her, I said, he is going to church. He's going to church in the woods. That's where he's finding it, he's just really finding what he needs, and he knows it. He really knows it. Knowing your values is like knowing your beliefs. And the big, we went through this during the year. We had I don't know what the heck we call that month, but about knowing your beliefs. What you have to ask yourself is, whose beliefs are they? Are they mine or are they somebody else's? And do I want them? How have they changed? That's what your values are. An awful lot of us have values, like we want the Hallmark card kind of Christmas, or the Hallmark card kind of Thanksgiving, and then if it doesn't look exactly like Hallmark says it's supposed to look, somehow we think we're doing something wrong or we're failing. But we're not really asking ourselves, is this really what I want? Is this really what I want? When my daughters started to grow up and they wouldn't come and play Hallmark with me, and they went to boyfriends' houses for holidays or whatever, I just felt like this big failure. Like our house wasn't good enough. They didn't like it enough, blah, blah, blah. Then I started celebrating with friends, and I had a really wonderful day, and I mean, this was like way back, they're in their 50s now, but when they were like in their 20s and things were changing, I just started to realize, let go. Stop letting Hallmark tell you how your life is supposed to look. And I got into like, we don't have any real traditions. Maybe the food at the table might be the real traditions, but it's changed so much over the years. And people come and people go into our lives. So the celebrations very often are celebrations of friends of the heart, family of the heart. That's what the values is about. And we have to keep asking ourselves, is this what I want? Using your creativity, allowing yourself to be a beginner at something that really, really calls to you, like being a writer or being a singer, or traveling to places you never traveled before, or changing where you live, or all the ways in which creativity wants to come through you. Using your voice, finding your voice to express yourself and what matters to you. We did a lot of looking at that over the year with like the boundaries workshop and stuff. saying no when you need to say no and saying yes when you need to say yes. Jennifer, big, huge changes for her with using her voice now in sobriety. Saying yes to a relationship that is totally abusive and not allowing it anymore. Big. But then stepping into the unknown. Now what happens? It's not going to look like that anymore. What's it going to look like now? That's connecting to source, like learning to trust. Being 76 now and saying goodbye to how I've done my career for 35 years. It's really scary. So it's like, hang on to that connect to source thing and know that I'll be guided. The what for is what's the purpose all about, and whose purpose is it? Is it mine? Is it really speaking to me at my deepest level? So the 365, and we're going to end with this. Julia Cameron talks about it in one of her books about creativity after 50. All we have to do to get to the end of the year the way we want to get to the end of the year is something, one thing each day that moves us towards it. Just one. So Kat wants to have 6 figures financial security at the end of the year. What's the one thing that you can do today, Kat? I'm not asking you to speak it now, but what's the one thing you can do today that will, just in the day, what's the one thing? I know for me, it's like, I increased my prayer. I started making my prayer life like on a regular with David, and I started doing some spiritual prayers, and well, I guess all prayers are spiritual, but some spiritual readings, and really making that an effort, asking for guidance because I was feeling so full of the unknown. But one of the things you could do to get to that 6-figure place is, what do I want to do with that 6-figure? What do I want to experience with that money? What will it give me? So start to break it down. Well, maybe it would give me, I don't know, maybe more of a feeling of security or whatever, but break it down. So what can I do in this day today to make myself feel a little bit more secure? Like that whole business about starting to sell everything in the storage unit. Selling everything in the storage unit and putting some more money in your wallet. That probably gave you a good feeling. So what do you want to do? One little step. And then when I gave you guys how to measure success, to see that's successful, that's what we look at. We look at what happened in that day. What did I do? How was I kinder to myself? How was I kinder to myself today? So what I would like to do with this going forward, if anybody wants to play with me, is I want to open up a Facebook page for us and I want to call it the 365, and that we would just kind of report in, what did I do today? What did I do today to get myself closer or get myself on the path for where I want to be at the end of the year? You can easily do it anonymously. You can just, make up a name for yourself for that Facebook group. You can just make up a name for yourself for that Facebook group and just kind of report in and hear what other people have said. I don't have the Facebook group established, but I'll send you guys out an email about it. Because I've just been too busy to do it, to tell you the truth. But I thought it'd be kind of fun that we could kind of like coach each other. It would just be like just kind of an accountability group that we would like just turn it in and say, here's what
Irene, I'm sorry, I don't mean to, would we I'm interested, but so like we would say what our goal was first?
Yeah, sure. Like one of my goals is I want blah, blah to happen. So here's that one thing I did today to get myself there. Or you don't even have to say your goal. You can just know what it is for you. But one of the things I did today to show up for myself was, I don't know, put an affirmation in my bathroom and stopped stop being so negative with my mouth or whatever. However you want to describe it, but it's like you just would show up every day publicly and say, here's what I did.
That's a
Okay.
good idea.
I think it'll be good for me. I need to do it. You know, so I want to share that with you guys, and I'll get it in an email to you about how you get into the Facebook group. It won't be, it's not hard. Go ahead, Ann, you want to
Oh,
say
I was
something?
going to ask you if it's going to be a private group Facebook, which
Yeah.
is what you're saying. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'll just be us. Yeah. Yeah, it'll just be us. Right. Because we played this game together. I'll be doing more workshops next year. And I'm not going to do a workshop during January because I'm doing the whole move thing. And I think it'll just, you know what that is? That's me setting a boundary. I just thought of what I'm doing. Because it would just make me crazy. I don't even know where my stuff is going to be, you know, much less do the Zoom thing, right? So I'd have to, so I'm not going to do a workshop during January, but I'll do one in February and I'll announce that later. But as we come in, I can keep talking about the Facebook group, and, you know, more people who have done the workshop can come in. But you have to go through the moderator, which will be me and Uma, about, you know, whether you can come into the group or not. And you can also just make up a name, you know, if you just want it to be like super duper private.
I don't think you can do that on Facebook, Irene. You have to go as who you are.
No, but once you're in the group, when you're in the group, can't you make up like a name for the group?
No,
Anyway.
but if it's private, I mean, there's a lot of groups with private memberships, and
Yeah.
so it is what it is, you know?
Okay, all right. But anyway, it'll be private. It won't be open. So, so now we've got just a few more minutes to share anything you guys want to share right now. But does the 365 make sense? Are you just doing one thing? And you can say
Put
whatever.
it back
the thing-
without the slides so we can all see each other.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Karen, can you take the slide down, huh? Yeah, there we go. Is
Oh, good. Thank you.
that what you all can see? All right.
I have a question, if that's all
Sure.
right.
Yeah.
So I've realized that my goal that I want to work on is reducing my fears. So that will reduce my anxiety. But that could look two ways. Like I could avoid everything that makes me feel anxious. And some of those things are kind of working for me and helping me. So should I say face my fears?
How
But
does that feel to you when you just said that? Does that feel more correct for you?
feels scarier.
All right, it feels scary. All right,
I'm
but I
just a
want,
big scaredy cat, I guess. I don't know.
I want you to use the word and. It feels scary, and what else does it feel?
The saying face my fears versus so I think it makes me feel a little bit more positive, or like instead of I worry that if I reduce my fears, I'm just going to avoid everything that makes me scared. So it makes me feel like constructive or productive to face
Yeah,
my
so I
fears.
want you to dig deep and write and journal yourself down. So here's what I think you were saying, Ann. Tell me if I'm wrong. When you say avoid my fears, that's what it's going to do. My guess is that's what you've been doing.
Avoiding my fears? No, I mean I've been doing
Or
a lot
maybe
of,
that's what you used to do, was avoid your fears, right?
yeah, or my fears would come up as like all this like messy anxiety and over talking and overthinking and anger and blah blah blah. So but now I'm just me, I'm all alone, so I don't have to worry about projecting onto other people. And
projection's a way to avoid. I mean, staying angry gives you a false sense of power, when fear gives you a real sense of vulnerability.
right.
But what you're doing right now with me, just exploring it as you write it down and you look at it, like you're asking yourself, what do I want to do? Do I really want to avoid my fears, or do I want to see what they're teaching me? Do I want to hear what they're having to say?
Okay.
What I try to do with these exercises is to get you guys so that you can do this on your own and ask you the kind of questions I want you to ask yourselves.
Oh, okay. So I have something. Instead of reduce or face, I want to overcome my fears.
That would be where you want to be at the end of 20.
Yeah.
So maybe I would just encourage you to use the word, maybe learn from my fears, see what they're trying to show me.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else want to share? Did I put you all to sleep? Lori? Sure, honey.
It's interesting because I had, one of my goals is to sort of is to break out of my routine. I have a very set routine that's not making me happy. I don't like it. I'm not doing anything really. I don't feel like I'm doing anything because I'm home and whatever. And I felt like I wanted to do it. I didn't really know why. I just wanted to do it. But as I was listening and kind of writing, and I realized that I want to do it because the routine that I've sort of set up for myself has made it really easy to not think about things that are deeper. It's made it easy to just live very surfacey. And I don't want to do that. I want to like get back to who I used to be more. You know how you talk about when we're born, we're this way, and we grow up and we lose a lot of that. And I want to get some of that original me back. And I think that by getting rid of my routine, which keeps me kind of in a haze of sameness, it will wake me up a little bit. So that's my goal.
And I happen to have a slide for that I forgot to put up for you guys. Okay.
Yeah,
So Karen, can you see slide number 7, please? I skipped over it. And then put our faces back up. Human beings, can you see it? Human beings confuse familiar with safety, and what this costs us is possibility. Human beings go for familiar before we go for anything, which is why we can stay in abusive relationships, why we stay in dead-end jobs, why we stay in a house that's too big for us, that's not serving us anymore. Last year, when I do these workshops on making a mandala, a personal mandala, where you look at the feelings you want to bring towards yourself for the coming year, right? And on my mandala, I asked for freedom, more freedom. And what I'm realizing here at the end of the year, that moving to this new little tiny condo and giving up this huge house and these grounds is going to give me a lot more freedom. So, you know, in AA, we say, be careful what you pray for, you may get it. Because I've been kicking and screaming like, I don't want to let my house go. How will I do things? I'm going to miss it, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's gotten taken away, and now I realize, oh, that's what I asked for last year. And here I am. I didn't know it was going to look like letting go of my home. Make sense, sweetie? And we all hang out there. We all hang out there. Someone else want to share? Is there something you want to add? Because you all have great stuff to add.
I just wanted to add a little bit to what I was just saying, that and this is all kind of like a new thing for me to be feeling and thinking about, because being stuck in that routine of sameness all the time has been so like feeling like safe, and just safe, I guess is a word. And so I feel very excited. I feel excited to like find something, like go back to a person that I used to be and think, and none of this is about like anything going out in the world and doing anything. It's all about an inner me that I want to find again.
So tell me where in your body you feel excited. We're physically.
I feel it in my chest and stomach.
And so that's when you know you're plugging into something that's your core. You're plugging into something that's really belongs to you. It's not up here about how to do it. It's right here about how to feel it. Then you know you're standing where you need to be standing. Even if you don't know why, you will learn. You will learn. It will be shown to you.
Right. Thanks.
So could I just quickly ask you all, I mean, because I think all of you have done the workshops before, this is the first time for you. There may be some people, the ones that have just signed up because they just want the recording, because there were 20 some people who signed up. Could you tell me what you got out of the year, out of the 12 months, or any of the workshops that you went to? Maybe what worked for you, what didn't work for you, what you might like in the future? Why would you get up on Sunday morning and come play with me? And you don't have to, if if it's something that you're shy to say now, if you would just send it to me in a text or in the email, it'd be really, really helpful as a plan for next year.
Irene?
Karen, yes.
Yeah, I've been to most of them this year, and they always propel me to journal because, as you know, I resist it. And as we're writing today, again, just the way you form the questions and the way I answered them surprised me.
Good.
It surprised me. And so, yeah, I can't really address one specific issue because, I like all of them. What are your beliefs? What are your beliefs? This one today about how do we move forward? How do you go deeper into this sort of vagueness that you're feeling? And, they're all helpful to me. And I leave it to you to choose the topic. But yeah, it makes me journal more, and the journaling makes me go inward in a directed way, because I will write, and I write in the morning, but it's not always directed, and it kind of just floats out into the ozone, so.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Good. Anyone
I
else?
have- oh.
Babs,
Oh,
you?
Go ahead. Yep.
You need your
Okay. What I wish I have been on all of your sessions. This is my second one, but what I'm getting out of it, it's so nice to know I'm not alone. I live alone, and I see you all, and I see your spirits and your heart. It makes me feel much more connected, and know we're all in this together, and we can get through this together. And even though I don't know you, our souls know each other, and we're on the same path, and that makes me feel so happy. So thank you, Irene, for putting up a Zoom to bring us together from, I don't know where all you're from, but I know you're not from Kentucky. So there's a few of you, but I'm just happy to see your faces and get to know you that way.
Thanks, Babs. Thank you. So we have Connecticut, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, California, Canada,
Maine.
Maine. I think I got you all. Good. And now Kentucky. We can say a prayer for the people in Kentucky with that tornado. So, Anne,
Irene?
Oh, Kat?
Yeah, I wanted to say, like, I can't, it's one of those questions that requires more thought, but I can see the progression from whenever the first one was it January?
Spirituality, right? Mhm.
Okay, so I started out whining and spinning and chasing my tail and constantly feeling like a loser. And not your fault, that's where I was. And I don't know, like here we are in December, and I feel I want to cry. I feel excited. I feel like I'm gonna break through one of those paper screens any minute now. I just feel it. I can feel it. I'm Anne was talking about the fear. Fear has just ruled my life so much in the last few years. And I'm like that Bruce Springsteen song. I'm just tired and bored with myself. I'm just so sick of it. I'm sick of hearing myself. I'm sick of holding myself back. And I think you just have to get to that. I mean, maybe other people don't, but I had to get to that point, and I just think about this dog I was babysitting last week, who apparently has never been to the beach. And I was trying to take him to the beach, and he got to the edge of the path where he could see the ocean, and he got really scared and he tried to run back, and I let him because I'm not going to terrify him. But I was like, oh, if you only knew how much fun was down there, you could run around and all that. And I want to know how much fun is down there. I want to get off the path and go out and run around. So I feel like I'm getting there. And I think the important thing has been, somebody says, just stay in the seat, stay in the room. like I keep showing up even if I feel like I'm not doing it well. And the thing that you said about like, what's the one thing you could move forward? I'm thinking I'm supposed to, again, externally, I'm supposed to come up with some big impressive thing. I'm supposed to sit down and write my website today. But instead you said something like put an affirmation on a mirror. It's like, oh, it could be that. Cause I was thinking I should finish cleaning up the clutter here because it really disturbs me. And I could focus better if I got the clutter out of this room. So, and I will say this, I meditated for the first, once a year, just in case. I meditated the other day with very little faith that it was going to do anything for me, even though I know that it works. And when I finished, I got up and wrote a sales page. So like not intending to, I just couldn't stop. So, I mean, I guess, we just show up. You helped me show up.
Good for you for showing up, honey. Good for you. Thanks for sharing. Someone else had their hand up. Did you have yours? Yeah, go ahead, honey.
All right, I'm trying to find you. Here we go. I was just a lot of what was previously said, but I'm not isolating, but with COVID, it's certainly much more than I ever did before. But I also just communicate with a group of people wherever they live in this world, but it's still the same. And so your workshops are, it opens the world in another way.
Oh, good.
Of learning from other people and hearing that, again, someone said, I'm not alone. That's, that's absolutely true. And I always learn from this. It's not necessarily something you say, it's what you trigger other people to say. And that's priceless. I'm not to take away from anybody's ad, but it really is for me, because I need to hear things that I don't know where else I would get them and be ready to receive them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key for me.
Thanks, hon. And what was the title of her book, Kat?
Oh, The Grief Garden.
Oh, God.
Fabulous.
Okay, I just keep getting the Lebanese truth test. All the hairs are up on my arm. Okay. I can't wait to see it.
One thing is all I have to say is I got out of this a lot, but one thing in particular was wanting to write. And I went out, I bought a computer and I'm going to write a lot. So thank you, Irene. That was great. That's
very,
it.
very cool. And we're gonna start our little group soon. Great, Lori. Great. Kat, I just want to add to you, because I can't let you go without a homework assignment. You need to write an essay or that story about the dog at the edge of the ocean. That you need to write that story out and save it. That's a great story, and it's a great visual, and so many people could relate to that. So don't lose that one, honey.
All right.
All right, to all of you, I wish you all the very, very best holiday. I wish you the very, very best for 2021. Hold us in prayer that tomorrow our house passes the inspection so that we can get the money from the guy and get to our new digs. And I'll be connecting with you via email, and see you in February. Love you.
Can I just say something? Kat just put in the chat, if you haven't looked, she said, if you want to connect in between workshops, she'd love it. And she put her phone number there. So
nice.
So if people are interested, that could be a really nice way to connect. So
right. And Kat, you said you wanted to not be invisible.
Yeah.
So putting your phone number there is your thing that you did today to get to one of your goals.
Look at me.
It doesn't have to be any bigger a deal than that.
I have to tell you, I had to work through a little hesitation there. Like maybe nobody will, but what the hell?
Right? Yeah, but you did it. That's what matters. You set an intention and an action towards not being invisible. And I just using that as an example of it doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. So you did your homework for today.
No, I have other homework. You already gave.
Well, I've got you in grad school. All right.
I just want to say thank you so much, Irene. You are such love and light, and you've been a gift to us this year. You're always a gift to us, but
Always.
this has been a gift.
Okay, I just want you all to know that you get the best of me. There are relatives who aren't getting what you're getting. Love
Thanks,
you all.
everybody. Thanks for sharing, everybody. Thank you, Irene.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
You,
Bye,
bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.